each week, each Monday, we choose to divide the week up into these days to identify where we are in time and space. Monday is like this idea of beginning. And in the beginning, there is this opportunity to prepare your mechanism. Now, one of the things that is not easy for us is that it's operating anyway. We breathe anyway. We stick something in our mouth called food and it digests anyway. We have a body that has this nervous system and intelligence, and we can get up and move around, and we can adjust, lift things up, put them down. We can move left or right. We have a visual cortex. We have an auditory cortex. We can calibrate the world through our senses. And we have these, and they're there. They function. And the majority of the human race, no judgment, is okay to settle for that. Doesn't really give a lot of thought to what that's capable of. When we witness people do extraordinary things, we watch our favorite sports team, or we watch someone do something amazing in business, something amazing in terms of a feat, climbing Everest, to forging some river, surviving an incredibly impossible situation, overcoming the impossible, crashing and burning and rising again, the phoenix. We look at that and go, wow, and we get excited, we get turned on. There's something, I believe, that in each of us we recognize through being reminded, mostly unconsciously, of a human capacity. But every once in a while, there's a group of people or somebody who's prepared to say, you know what, I want a bit more of that. I want a bit more control over my circumstances. So we wake up in the morning and we look around in all the ways we can look, sense, see, feel, and we look at our world and what we've accumulated, what we have caused as our circumstance, and we give ourselves a sensation of feeling, an idea, a judgment. Nothing harsher than the inner judge. Sometimes the inner judge is stuck on a past poor performance or a past excellent performance, and we're still living that over and over again in the good old days, and or I'm never going to get up again and try, it hurt too much. Having framed that up, each of you sits there in this experience of being you, and you have these capacities, and you have this opportunity to take them seriously. Each Monday, and those that are mentored privately with me are able to touch in a bit more closely to look at the result you're getting in the various areas of how you measure your life, and look and say, I'd like to improve that. I'm really excited about that. What is that? And all of it. And you sit here and you go, I'd like to influence it. Why? Because one glorious and extraordinary life that you've been blessed with. And then you get days like, I'm going to Tangalooma, you can all get, and I love you, and I've gone fishing. Have a break, have a rest, you deserve it. You've been out there in the space, big game, very challenging, incredibly rewarding, and incredibly brutal, and incredibly competitive, and he needs a rest. So it's using a faculty to stop a minute, to breathe, to be with family. So on that note, making it relevant to why today's important, to reflect on our performance, to stop a minute, to go into the fray each day and look and go, look, faculty, optical nerve, visual cortex, and go, what do I see? So you can both see the immediate circumstance and go, the circumstance of my immediate life in the three-dimensional world, but I can also have insight and get a sense into my, what I'd like to bring it to as an outcome. We have this capacity with the most amazing simulator, the human mind, which is all mind, to tweak it, to influence it, to cause it, to direct itself to certain ways of operating before they've happened. We can go into imagination, greatest faculty of all, and we can cause and move around an idea and use all the senses to go in and say, I want to create this. Before it's like in the first, I call it first reality, the place where it's imagined first. Nothing can exist without having been imagined first. So you go in and look and go, what do I want to cause? And you look at your immediate circumstance and say, I want to transition it. I want to take it to another level. I want to let stuff go. But to do it all, coming to Monday Mentor now, to do it all, you've got to change. You've got to become more refined, more practiced. You can have your mind wandering all over the place, like the majority of people, Good day, bad day, and then link it to the emotions, and then you've got the mind imagining and thoughts, chatter, and emotion grabbing in, and then you'll find your posture will adjust to wherever your attention is, and you can go into the day in out of shape and give it a go. Hard work, because part of your mind, undisciplined, is focusing on past error and immediate evidence of it. Or you can refine it and train and work together like this group and other things you do that are excellent and come into ritual. Why? Because the interference is so strong. There's so much going on, and every day you go out there, you're logged on to not only what's happening in your village, you're logged on to what's happening on the planet, and you log on a lot. And you're dealing with that, plus micro focus down to your immediate circumstance. So would it be okay, as you consider all these things on a Monday morning with me in my ravings, grabbing your attention and saying the ritual of some of the faculties, breath, which we'll do. So right now, just put your attention on your breath. Just watch it. It's coming in and out. Its capacity is infinitely capable. It's running your chemistry. It's balancing the CO2 oxygen. It's running all the other chemistry. It's adjusting the cortisol. It's adjusting adrenaline. It's adjusting the pH, acidic or alkalinity of your system. It's running itself through into the blood supply, into the hemoglobin, and into the cells. It's doing it all just by you watching it breathe in and out. A 95+% of you runs like that, in spite of your attention, where you're putting your attention. So as you watch the breath now, put your attention on that. The funny thing is, just as you put your attention on it, you influence it. Your pH will come into more balance. It'll come to what they call 7. Those of you who understand pH, acidity, alkalinity balance. Your oxygen distribution will come into balance with the CO2. Every once in a while, your breath will hold. On the out breath, there will be a tiny hole between that and when you intake at the reflex, where it reflexes to breathe in again. In that hold increases CO2. Oxygen can't distribute itself into the cells without CO2. CO2 transports the oxygen into the system. Far out. All of this takes place. So would it be okay to take your mind, your thoughts, and align it with the genius you are? So put your attention just for a moment on the idea, and this is very panoramic, of having an extraordinarily good week. Doesn't matter how. I know some of you who are very feistily detail-brained, which is awesome. Left brain, very detailed, analytical, going, yeah, but how? Yeah, but how? I've got these problems. Just for the moment, just put your attention on having an extraordinary week. Just give that instruction, because as you put your attention on that idea, it's an instruction. And then breathe into it. Just watch the breath gently. Now, the breath is this incredible capacity. It's life force, it's chi, it's prana. It's got ingredients that we can't even fully understand yet. Spiritual pathways will explain aspects of it. There's an amazing capacity in breath. We wake up, we're born, and the breath is taken. We die, and the breath is gone in the physical, three-dimensional space. It's amazing. And it runs so many things. It balances mixture. So if you take control of it, wow, you can go to another level. If you start to learn breath work, which I'm in love with, because I've watched the results of myself and others. I watch people handle anxiety. I watch people handle impossible. I watch people, I don't know, increase their brain capacity. They're visioning. If you look at high performers, high stress performers, special force performers, people in all sorts of areas, breathwork's a big part of the game now. Always was, actually, going back to ancient times. Just notice, take control of the breath now, Monday morning. Take control of your breath. And then put your attention on having an extraordinary week. And for those of you who've mastered this, go into the Wim Hof breath. For those of you that it's new, I'll just demonstrate and the others to go in there, and I'll join you shortly. So you're going to do as many breaths as you can, but try to get to 30 if you can. No competition if you can't, it's okay. So you pull it in and just let it go. Don't push it all the way out. Just pull it in, let it go. Count. You'll find yourself getting lightheaded. It's okay. Just keep it nice and safe. Can't kill yourself breathing. And as you do it, breathe into where you can. Try and take it to 30. On the out breath of 30, go into a hold. Hold the breath and sit still. Breathing in, let it go. Breathe in, let it go. Breathe into the gut, let it go. Your tummy should go up as you breathe in, but it doesn't matter if it doesn't initially. Just breathe in, let it go. What you're doing is raising the bar, increasing the oxygen CO2 balance, increasing the mixture, energizing, switching your brain on. This is true, not just fluff. This is scientific. This is coming from respiratory specialists. This is coming from thousands of years of understanding breath work. This is why Wim Hof can go in ice for long periods of time. This is why the Tibetan monks can do the Chumo breathing like this and handle the freezing cold conditions in fairly flimsy clothing. Humans are capable of extraordinary things given rituals that set the day. Rituals every day. Not too many, just enough. You've got your exercise. A lot of people go to gym now. And your breath hold now at 30. On the out breath, you hold as long as you can. And when you feel you can't anymore, no competition, breathe in, hold again for about 10, 15 seconds. And then relax and run another round. What's going on in your mechanism, in your beautiful system, and your biophysiology is insanely, incredibly fabulous. Health, resilience, strength. Disease only exists in an acidic environment. You're bringing your body into an alkaline balance, an acidic alkaline balance, pH. The likelihood of you getting sick is much, much less. And if you do get a little bit sick, you can recover with breath work and mindset. It's true, it's proven. So as you do it, you're switching your brain on though. As you do that, you're increasing your peripheral vision because you're going into the parasympathetic nervous system. You're not in fight flight. Fight flight is chest breath, short, imbalanced, emotionally attached. So what you're doing is taking charge as you do, and you run another round of your emotional predisposition. It's really important. If you take charge of your emotion and learn to manage it, your response to what appears before you as an obstacle is more refined, more thought out, more present, more conscious, more considered. If you're operating in fight flight, like a large part of our culture, then you're myopic, you're acidic, you're in the sympathetic nervous system, fight flight, you're running from the bear in your everyday life. Not a good state to be present, to be still, to be causing and creating an extraordinary world that you deserve. So as you do this and run another round now, I'm going to talk to you in a certain way. It's a hypnotic language, but it's a language that will allow you just to enter your insight ability. And I imagine as you run your breaths, just come back in when you're ready into a gentle breath with awareness. Watch your breath. And as you do, bring your awareness to your body and feel a tingling. You might feel tingling in your body from the oxygen and from the aliveness. Bring your awareness to the vision and close your eyes and just notice looking through or into the back of your eyes. And imagine a screen being formed. As you imagine it or instruct yourself to imagine it, you not imagine it because it's an instruction. And what you're doing each morning is to learn to use ritual to instruct your inner being to be at high performance. No matter what the circumstance, no matter what's happened on the weekend, no matter what's happened in the past, no matter what you're dealing with now, come into yourself and watch your breath. And on the screen, I want you to throw up the extraordinary week. Now, it doesn't have any form yet unless you already know what that looks like. So imagine a clean slate, if you will, like a beautiful space, empty, a void, an empty void. And as you breathe gently with awareness, just gently, in and out through the nose, if you can. I want you to throw a color up on the screen, just to know that you can influence it without getting too detailed. Just a color, any color. A color that inspires you, that makes a beautiful color, one of your favorites. And as you throw the color up, allow yourself to find yourself in the most exquisite forest. And if one was to imagine light dappling through the trees, through the leaves, refracting off objects, causing shadow and sparkle, entering a drip of water and refracting off it as light, sparkling drips of water, you know what I mean. And then notice if you were to bring your attention to the sound of a babbling brook or a fiercely beautiful river, mountain river, and notice the light dappling on it. And notice light intermingling with water. And listen to the sound of it, perhaps like an orchestra or a really finely woven piece of music. Notice it and appreciate it. In other words, increase it. To appreciate is to increase. So as you look at your week in front of you now, standing in the forest, appreciate the extraordinariness of it. When you're walking down the street, if one considered myopically focused on your problem, you are not looking at the sky. You are not looking at the building architecture. Perhaps you're missing out on so much going on. There might be a little bird chatting to another little bird. There's so much going on. And the myopia is useful to focus, but would it be okay not to so focus and so immerse that you lose connection with the magnificent picture of it all, the meaning of it all, the extraordinariness of it all? And yes, to attend to the tiny problem or what it might appear, because as you focus, the tiny gets bigger. So be very careful the way you focus. Notice the obstacle. And as you stand in the forest and watch the reflection of the water and the light and the sound and the movement of the trees and the foliage, perhaps an insect or a creature shuffling, rustling through it, and notice the magnificence of this space that seems to run itself in spite of you. There is so much going on in spite of you. And And as you allow yourself to appreciate him, now look at your week through the forest and imagine it in your inner sight, imagination coupled with vision, thought, shape, outcome. And notice it and connect it. And as you imagine it in your space, as you find yourself in the forest, link to your vision, whatever it appears as. Don't judge it, just link to it. And know that as you grab this vision today and maybe then link it to the future, notice it's the first place that it exists in your imagination, in your insight. And I want you just to contemplate that for a moment as you watch your breath standing in the forest or just walking quietly through, noticing what you notice. That when you imagine, you're creating that which doesn't exist yet. Vision. And as you create it, you're stimulating it at so many levels. As you're causing it, and as you practice it each day, not just Monday, you'll find the detail increases. Your connection with it at all the senses increases. And then intermittently, in wonderful moments, like little birds tweeting or the light dappling on a particular thing you never saw before, little dimensions of the imagination start to turn up in your 3D world. They start to manifest in the most extraordinary ways, some unlikely. Coincidence. The relationship between the imagination and vision and the three-dimensional real. And as you imagine it and notice it, understand it's the first real. It's the first place it exists. But it's real. The unconscious mind, as you can't tell the difference between real and imagined. So it elicits the sensations. So check your emotion now. And allow your emotion and your breath and your vision, whatever it is, keep it simple. Align. Notice the sensations, the emotion. And one of the ways to increase that is to go out to the end of the week in your imagination, so future shift, and experience it in further formation. The word information is like geese flying through the sky and then moving into different formations, and one goes to the lead, one comes back and rests. In formation, but then words, and put them in formation, and then put your imaginings in formation, with information, and add information to the formation, and you'll find it turning up in different ways. And then, as you have experienced all your life, you look around at your circumstances, the culmination of your imaginings, coupled with the bigger picture. Now, if there's any part of that imagining that's turned up that you don't like that much, that's okay. Just imagine it differently and then practice. And as you wander through your day today, every once in a while, take a moment to put your attention on your breath. Close your eyes, not when you're driving. And imagine the forest, imagine your vision, imagine whatever it is, and practice it. And every once in a while, because we're sensitive beings, when you feel an emotion that is a little bit escalated, a little bit uncomfortable, you'll find the way, if you go to your mind and thoughts, the way you're imagining what's happening is slightly skewed. So adjust it to the vision. Now, the practice is under pressure. It's a little bit more challenging to practice that. But the point of Monday Mental and other spaces you might find yourself in ritual is to practice the skill so that when you're under serious pressure, you're able to come into your breath, come into your stillness, and hold the vision in spite of what appears before you. Extraordinary humans. And then you look at the world now. If one was, as you walk further in the forest or find a rock to sit by the creek, the river, or whatever it is you imagine, to reflect on extraordinary performance of humans in the world, where we've overcome something, where we've created something. Invisible money, invisible books, invisible conversations like now, where we're all shimmering in pixelated form, talking to each other. It's a new real. Remember, 50 years ago, if someone had said, you'll be sitting on the screen talking to friends all over the world in the immediate moment and yet in different time zones, you'll go, don't be ridiculous. What have you been taking? And yet here we sit. So as you notice magic, as you notice it, notice that as you imagine it, because someone imagined that and then spent time on it and then shared it with others and then brought together as a team or a group or a special, invited a team or a partner or a colleague or another company and said, I've got a dream. I want to tell you something. I've been thinking, if we could do this, imagine that, what could we do then? And you see it turn up all over the place all the time. So if you put your attention instead of on the news that is telling you what's wrong, what's scary, put your attention on the extraordinariness that's taking place right before you. Just like when you're walking and worrying sometimes, you look up and see the sky, or a bird, or a particularly beautifully painted building, or an architectural piece you haven't seen before, or the smile of a child, or the giggling of a couple who are immersed in love, or a kid on a skateboard. Amazing, watching. And as you contemplate this, yesterday I was sitting up on the Noosa River and watching all the different modes of transport. There were 3 guys on these hydrofoil surfboards, cruising together like warriors up the river. And then the platform they were standing on would rise and they were on these incredible little mechanism. Others were in yachts, little sailing boats. Others were in speedboats. There was a boy in a tinny with a fishing rod with his mate. All sorts of different technologies. So as you notice this and go into wonder, as you contemplate, it's all imagined. So as you find yourself sitting on your rock or wherever you are on your river, just watching the river come, it's full, but it's continuously moving. As you look at the magic of it all, allow yourself just for a moment to let go of anything you're holding on to that is of no use, past its use by date. And put your attention on what you want to cause. And know that you're the cause. And those you invite to cooperate with you are the cause with you. And as you concentrate that cause and cultivate it and imagine it like boys and girls playing games of imaginary magic and wonder, a little shop on the side of the road in a country lane with kids with a little shop or in the city selling their wares. Or a girl having an imaginary tea party with princesses and kings. Or some boy sitting imagining he's going to be a world champion surfer one day. Or he's going to be Elon Musk. Or he's going to be, she's going to be, they're going to be. Wonderful imaginings. And then look at the ritual and say, if I concentrate and spend a moment each day getting my breath right, as you watch the breath now, If I eat a little bit more meaningfully, which increases my system's ability, if I do some exercise or movement, if I really choose my outcome, what could happen? What's possible? And as you look around humanity's journey, you'll see what's possible. And remember, in the realm of the infinite, at the risk of sounding fluffy, nothing's complete. It's infinity. It's never there yet. It's always unfinished. It's infinitely capable. Isn't it wonderful? And that's the stuff that you are part of when you imagine. You imagine into the infinite capability of mind. And as you move around in the three-dimensional world, which appears to be finite, just know that it's not. It's part of something far greater. And that your discipline to think, to imagine, to breathe, to do rituals will refine your results. So as you look out at the Monday next week, I want you to see the result of who you've become more than what you have. I know that's important. What you have it'll turn up, but put your attention on who you've become because you're causing it. You're the golden goose. The golden goose is in control of laying its eggs. You're the golden goose. So you need to take care of yourself. You need to practice. Watch your breath. Practice your imagination. Pay attention to where your emotions are. And as you watch your emotion in a moment, you'll see it's a reflection of what you're focusing on and thinking about at a conscious or unconscious level. And then you make the adjustment. Just go back and say, what am I paying attention to? What have I decided is true? What am I imagining? And then bring it back to your vision of you refined. If you practice being you and start to increase its capacity, which is what you're infinitely capable of, then the results are implicit. You can concentrate on growing more money or a bigger operation. That's great. But if you want to sustain it, if you want to grow it and enjoy it and sustain it, then start practicing being the person that's created that and holds it in still beautiful resonance. So as you look around your forest, if one was still there and reflected, if one could just walk for a moment into the river safely and gently and allow yourself just to bathe, immerse yourself into the waters and allow the beautiful waters of the mountain to wash you. And then come out and allow the sun to reflect and dapple and warm your body or invigorate you. And then take some big breaths with a sigh. And choose. Choose the week. Choose who you're becoming and choose the rituals that will get you there. And whether you're going on a holiday, whether you're going into the fray today, whatever you're doing, choose your response to it. Because you're at cause. It's a gorgeous responsibility. Embrace it. And by the way, the more you do, the more refined your result will be to what you're thinking. On that note, if one was just to find their way back in the room, and find your way back in, to your body, to your mind, to the room. So this week, pay attention as a focus to your attention. One of the feedbacks, the beautiful feedback of the senses, are like those little antennas. That's them know what's going on. And sensors are our antenna. And so when emotions move, they're attached to your imaginings. Emotions are attached to your imaginings. So if you're having an emotion that is unpleasant, your imaginings are unpleasant. So just adjust them. Just go, where am I paying attention? And practice it just this week. And you'll find it'll really help you calibrate yourself. Where's my attention? Where's my emotion? And then come back into whatever vision you've cultivated, whether it was the first time today or added to what you're already running or working on, and just practice it and bring color and shape and sensory aliveness to it. Write it down, because it's part of the way, the skill. I don't know if you've ever thought of it this way, but when you write something with a pen, it's one of the places where the imagination enters the 3D reality. It might be it might be a drawing, it might be a word, but it comes into form through the symbolism of language or shape. That form is a part of your vision. When you say a word, it is part of a vision manifested through the sound coupled with breath. It's real. And it's a stepping stone. It's connected to the resonance of it all and bringing it through into and maintaining the formation of a beautiful life. So have the most extraordinary day. You are loved and appreciated by me and many others.